eNCA's senior journalist Aiwe Mtila is tracking that story and joins us now from the court for an update. So Aiwe, they are expected to hear their fate today. Any indication, or has that process started, of the bail decision being delivered?
Not as yet. We're expecting that process to be underway at 11:30, Bratulas. But there's a lot that we can already deduce from the prima facie evidence that we heard on Wednesday. For one, we understand that the 4 police officers used unnecessary force to students who were not violent. That came from the affidavit of the investigating officer in this matter, Judy Twala, who further states that these officers did not assess the type of gathering that was happening at that time. We then went on to understand that these weren't even the Wits protesting students, but rather students from the Johannesburg Institute of Engineering and Technology who had came out after school in Bloemfontein and were waiting at their bus stop. We understand from that affidavit that the 4 police officers then came with the police nyala, and accused number 1, 2 and 4 started shooting at the students while they were waiting at the bus stop without even questioning what was happening, but rather fired those rubber bullets, and they were firing them at close range. Then Mthokozisi Ntumba, the 35-year-old town planner from the city of Tshwane, was at the doctor, came out at that moment as the shooting was happening, and he too faced the wrath of those rubber bullets at close range. You understand, he had a gun, he had rubber bullet wounds in his left side of his chest, under his armpit, and 1 underneath his eye, and there were 6 rubber bullet cartridges that were found lying around his body. So some of the prima facie evidence that paints a picture of what happened on that fateful day when the 35-year-old lost his life. But we're expecting that bail application, I beg your pardon, the judgment itself to be underway from 11:30 today.
Just recap for us, Aiwe, what were the arguments that make their case that they made in support of their bail applications? Just a broad summary of why these 4 officers believe they deserve to be out on bail.
Well, at this stage, the defense, you understand, they have individual lawyers, but the summary of their defense is that the state's version of events must not be believed at this stage, as it's not even appeared at trial. They're already saying that the 4 gentlemen are planning to plead innocent, believe that they're not guilty, and in fact, they didn't go into the details of what happened on that day, saying that that will be revealed at trial, but the versions of the state, though, the version that we heard around the killing and how it happened, is not to be believe at this stage. They spoke on the merits that they have families to support, the police officers and their families rely on them. They're not sure how long the forensic investigations, for example, will take. So that means if they're not released on bail, their families could suffer for a long period before this matter is actually heard in trial. But you also understand the consideration that the magistrate has to make around the outrage that could happen if these 4 police officers are granted bail today. Even outside this court here, the Johannesburg Magistrate Court, there are a number of supporters. You see some of them in the different party regalias, and some of the students are just outside, but not in large numbers. But there are a few numbers which would suggest that there could be some community outrage, which was one of the issues that the magistrate needs to look at if he is to grant the 4 police officers bail.
All right, thank you for that. Live from the Johannesburg Magistrates Court, that's eNCA's Aiwe Mtila, as he signals there that judgment, that decision on bail ruling will be delivered around 11:30. So in the next 15 to 17 minutes or so, that judgment will get underway at the Johannesburg Magistrates Court. So we will continue to give you updates on that, and look out for more of Aiwe's reporting on that story throughout the day here on eNCA.